We're back at it again with another video. Working in the shop yet again, closely. Getting more and more done for every time I get out here. But the last video you all saw, the electronics getting power up for the first time. The wiring harness pretty much done. So since then, I've been working hard, trying to get this thing finished. Want to go out and drive soon. It's been a while. So, but we got a lot more stuff done to it. So I've pretty much just been working a lot the last few weekends. The welder's pretty much been running non-stop. Also got a bit of some burns, but that happens. So I already have had the car fired up multiple times, changed the oil a couple times. But I'm gonna show you all what I've been done to it. So it was ready for fire up, and then I'm gonna cut to some video of actually trying to get this thing started up, and then I'm gonna come back to me, and then I'm gonna explain some of the wiring faults that were, not that many, but there were some, and some setup in the ECU that needs to be done before it could run properly. And then I'm gonna fire it up while that should running pretty good. So, but here it is. It's pretty much finished up with all the plumbing and everything. In the last video, I didn't have the IC pipe or intercooler pipe made. The one I made in the last video, I made those up, fitted up the intercooler, and did the last bit of welding. Actually, I think it turned out pretty well for not being a educated, or I can say a professional welder, just learning on my own. I actually think it turned out pretty well. So we have the EGG sensors fitted up, everything's fitted up, the downpipe's been made up, the wastegate's all finished plumbing. These are the water lines for the turbo. I don't like the way they run, but I was going to do it in a hard line, and they were not sealed probably. I couldn't get them to seal up, so I think I'm gonna unfortunately run this without coolant for the turbo, as I can't seem to figure out a way to do it nice. But it's gonna help the heat with the heat of the coolant probably then also. But finished up all the, what do we call it, fuel lines down here with the dry brakes here, and then you have another one down there. Fuel pressure regulator, all the lines for the brake lines have been made. Just need to give them a little bit of a polish so they look nice. The last bit of the wiring has also been done. I think everything was done last time. To put this up, would like to do it a little bit more. Put this up a little bit here, but do that. The boost control has been pretty much done. It's a lot. Don't need to do catch can and everything, but yeah. So let's cut to the video of actually trying to fire it up for the first time. And then you're all gonna come back when you watched all that, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the exhaust system, show you all that stuff, and actually fire it up. Well, I should run well. So I can actually hear it with the exhaust and everything fully done, because in the first starter video I only had the downpipe made, and it was horrendously loud. Sounded good, but it was loud. It was very loud. So now it has the full exhaust system with the silencer in the back made up. So you're all gonna hear that. But let's cut to the first startup. the first, trying to fire it up, and can't remember in my mind if it actually heard it running for a little bit. But I had some issue with some trigger setup going wrong. It was not running right. I figured out that if I ran only on the crank sensor, it worked fine. And if I flood cleared it, it would run, but run really rough. So it was flooding the cylinders. But I figured out that it was the trigger offset. Or me and JE Performance, Jace from JE Performance, the guy that helped me out with the Haltech stuff and just trying to do the mapping on it. He helped me out with figuring out that the trigger offset was off. I put it 360 degrees off. So ran through all that, figured that stuff out. I figured out where I was also not getting spark. I had my setup for my kill switch the wrong way around. So it was activating the kill switch was activated when it was off in the ECU, so it wouldn't fire the ignition or the spark. So that was a problem. Figured that out. Figured out my issue with my throttle body. It was a loose connection in connector on the ECU. It was only touching a little bit, so it was enough power to hear the throttle blip a little bit when you turned the ignition on. But when it was actually going to operate fully, there was not enough amps to make it run properly. But figured that stuff out. I had two plugs that are miswired. One for the accelerator pedal, the gas pedal. That was an easy fix. And then I had switched my signal ground and sensor signal on my crank sensor. But I figured that one out as well. So all that is running well. I have a little bit of issue with my fuel level gauge. Can't figure that one out just yet, but I haven't spent that much time on it anyway. But we have finished up all the last bit for the handbrakes and everything work, and the water system, everything works. We have the back end finished up, the reservoir, the overflow. It hangs down the reservoir for the handbrake. Fuel stuff. I actually like the way this all looks. Like that the reservoir, coolant reservoir seems to be centered in the center of the car. I have my fans for the old setup. Fitted that also, seen if they will work well. Made a shroud for it. And firing it up and running these on, I think I'm running at 40% output or something, 50% output or something. And the water pump at 30% output. This only got up to 72 degrees. Couldn't get it any higher at idle. So I actually think this might work pretty well. But let's see when we go drive again. I actually like the way everything came out in the rear end of it. I think it looks well. Might look a bit busy down there, but it's all there. And I have also made an exhaust for it, and that is something I am very, very happy with. The first time I made it, it was hanging way too low, so I redid it. I actually think it's laying pretty well. A little small touch with a blue thing. We're gonna be running on the outside where everything is going to be taken off. It's running black, and on the inside or everything where it's black, painted black, it's going to be running the blue fasteners, just to give it a bit of contrast. We have shifter in, that works. Handbrake works. Everything else is done in that way. It turns the wheels and all through the gears. Let's take a look under it. I have the screamer pipe made up. The rest of the exhaust made. And that's a 4-inch pipe. I think that's pretty neat. It hangs a little bit low, but what can you do with a 4-inch pipe? It's a big exhaust system for this thing. It wasn't meant to be that big, but hey, I messed up and ordered the wrong thing, so it became that big. It sounds cool. It's about to rain again. And then we have all seen that and all seen everything else. Turbos, everything's all fastened up. Got lightning on for the gate. I ran into an issue with my alternator that it's overcharging a lot. Tried everything to see if it was a wiring issue that is doing it. Unfortunately, it seems to be the alternator is bad, the new one, and it's an Pontiac GTO LS1 alternator, and getting a hold of one of those ain't that easy, so I ordered a new regulator for it, an internal regulator for it, so I can solder that one in. Seems like it's not regulating the voltage, because every time some new system turns on, the voltage just drops, and it should sense the voltage drop and then regulate the output, and it doesn't do that. Doesn't seem to do that at all. But so that's the holdup at the moment for it to go on the dyno. Actually pretty much ready. I just need to do the catch tank and then fasten up the EGT sensor unit and the dipstick tube so it cannot get pushed out, but then it's actually pretty much ready for the dyno. So that's pretty annoying. Hope it's on its way. I hope it turns up soon, but it's coming from America and using the normal postal service, and that takes a bit of time. So, well, still got lots of stuff to do in the meantime, like windows. The front windshield is getting put in next weekend. But shouldn't we fire it up for you all so you can hear it? Everything's turning on. Dash turns on. Actually, don't need to have my laptop on it. So there you have it. It's up and running. As you all saw, it's making way too much voltage, and it should regulate when a system turns on. It doesn't seem to be doing that, and I don't know if I'm over spinning the alternator, but I'm using a kit for an LS alternator on an RB, so it comes with a new pulley, and the dampener as well has also been made to underdrive the alternator a little bit, but this should still be regulating. So I don't know why it's doing it. I can't seem to figure to have a battery light or charging light working as well. Doesn't seem that works at all. When I tried that should have power on one side and then negative or low power on the other side, so it lights on, and when the alternator kicks on, does charging, it has power on both sides and cuts out, but doesn't do that. So but we'll see. We got stuff on the way for it. Hope we get here soon, so we can figure this shit out and then actually go drive. But it sounds good. Sounds really good. I had hoped it was a little bit more throaty in the sound, or a little bit more choppy, but I think the silencer takes that, because when I had it turned on with just a downpipe, it was really raspy at idle, or go flopping idle, going up and down. Sounded very good, but can't wait to hear this thing scream on the dyno. That turbo push a lot of boost, about 1.5 2 bar, but seems to be moving a lot of air. So it's good, but hope you all like the way it is turning out. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm really happy with some of the stuff I've been building, some of the ideas I've been having with fitting stuff up, like the one you saw with the exhaust system. It is blowing my mind doing this dream build. So let's hope this really can mill tires fast and go fast, and just be something that people are going to love and remember and talk about. As it doesn't seem like we have a lot of RBs in Denmark anymore driving, and we don't have a lot of Skylines anymore. So I only think we have a couple of other Skylines that I know of at this point in time. But like a proper build RB, that has been a while. Like this setup, anything done to this size or built. It's been a little bit of time since I last heard that on the tracks. But it's gonna go pretty well. So let's see when dyno rolls around. That's probably gonna be the next video for you guys. It's gonna be the dyno video, or getting it ready for the dyno and then taking it to the dyno. But as I mentioned, still need to have the stuff for the alternator figured out, have that rug up. That's the last piece of the puzzle at the moment before it's ready. Oh, it's thundering outside. Just rained, now it's sunny. Well, welcome to Denmark, everybody. The weather we have here. But it's summer, right? It was 27 degrees yesterday and I was welding all day, so that was a hard day. But well, see you all in the next one. Bye.